Hello friends. Decided to do a little updo tutorial today on a half up, half down style, a little half French twist look. So if you want to learn this style step by step, then come hang out with me and we will talk through how to do this step by step. Okay friends, so first thing as always, we have prepped her hair. So her hair is prepped. That means we have brushed through it. We've made sure there are no tangles. We've dried shampooed any kind of oil she's got in her hair. She's got a little curl already to it. We've got a little bit of a soft wave, all right. And now we're gonna move into sectioning. So we've had our consultation. We've done all the prep like that. We know exactly what we're doing with our bride today. And then we moved on and we've prepped, like I said, and now we are doing sectioning. Sectioning is the golden roadmap to everything that you do in updos. And I love sectioning because it makes sure that my work is neat, that it's clean, that I know where I'm going, and then I never get lost in an updo. So I've got a side part and I've made a headband part from the top of the head to the top of the ears forward. We're clipping that away. Now with this back, since we're doing half up, half down, I'm going to be leaving half of this down, of course. And so what I want to do now is just section out the top sort of triangle, and I'm going to use that for detailing, okay? So what I like to do is kind of imagine where the temple is, come back to that spot, and then we're going to take a kind of like a rounded triangle around just the crown of her head here from temple to temple. Now, this is a way that I really section out almost every updo that I do. And the reason being is because I want to make sure that I have got a lot of control over the top here, and I will lose control if I don't section this out first. So that is why I'm doing that. Okay, friends. So now what you're gonna do is if you had a normal amount of time, then this is where you would go through and do what you want to do here. So you can make waves, you can make curls, you can do brushed out curls, whatever you want to do in this section, do that here and do that first. For the sake of time, we're not doing that today together, but you do that if you do this updo. All I want to focus on now is the hair that I'm going to be pinning up. So because I'm going to be doing half up, half down, I'm going to be bringing the hair kind of to the midpoint of the head. So because of that, I want to make sure I've got some grip back here to hold my bobby pins. So I'm going to go through and do some back combing in this section right in the middle of her head. So I'm not going to go too much on the sides because I don't want a lot of volume to come out here, but I do want to have a little bit of grip. So I'm just taking small 1/2 inch sections and just back combing about 2 inches in. And that's just going to give me a little more hold for the look that I'm going to do. Now, if this is someone who is like, give me all the volume, then sure, you can do a little more back combing than this. But the purpose of this back combing right here is just to hold my bobby pins, okay? So I have got a little bit of cushioning back here with my back combing. So this is back combed right in here, okay? So now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do the center part and we're gonna pull this down and pin this. And the last part we're gonna do is the 2 front sections, okay? So now that I've done the back combing here, another tip for getting good grip is just to use some texture spray right in here over your back combing to make sure you've got good grip. So I really like Big Sexy brand. This is Play Dirty. Great. Love it. And now we're going to bring this over. Bring this down and over. So if you want to have a lot of volume in this section, this is where you're going to create that volume. I want a little bit of volume, but not a lot of volume. So I am going to not do back combing, but just use some texture spray to create some light lift. So what I will do is comb the hair straight up and then use that texture spray, just blast the root like that, lay it down, and then do your next section right here. So what this is doing is just giving the hair a little bit of lift, not too much, but just enough that it's movable and not flat against the head. If you want a lot of volume, this is where you would create some back combing. But we don't need to do a lot. If the hair is really fine, then I recommend using texture powder, not necessarily texture spray. Texture powder is going to give a lighter hold to someone with really thin hair. You don't want to ever weigh it down. Okay, so now that I've done that, I can bring this all over. And this is going to give me a little more ability to just give a little bit of lift. So you can already see just from the side here that I can just get a little lift in here with my comb because of that spray that I just did without using any texture spray at all. So now I'm using this metal point just to arrange the top. So before we even get into the updo to pinning, I want to make sure this part that's laying over the top of our head is perfect. So I'm just gently lifting this up to get some volume. And then I'm going to gather in that section that I just laid down, and I'm going to pin it towards the center, okay? So under here is where that volume, or where that backcombing is. And now I'm going to put just a couple pins in here to lightly secure this. So we're going to open and then just put one in here, and it doesn't have to be super tight yet. This is just to get the shape that we're looking for. So I brought this over, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I don't like to do heavy pinning right here because, like I said, I want to get this shape down. And that's kind of one of the keys with a half up, half down look, is you want to get your shape molded here before you start bringing in the sides and doing any pinning. So you want to make sure it's centered, obviously. And then I want to get the amount of lift in here. So you can go in with your comb and just lift in here. So that's the metal prong comb. You can also use a tail comb to do that. So that's going in internally and lifting to get a little bit of lift. And if you want it to be a little piecier, you can come in with a hairspray and just use your fingers to kind of make it a little bit piecier, a little more textured over the top. But whatever you do, don't pin too much that you can't move it, okay? Because you want to be able to kind of move this out, pull at it a little bit if you need to. Okay, so now what you do once that's done, you want to make sure you love that, okay? Check from the front, make sure it's got the amount of lift that you want. So that's checking in with your bride to take a look at the front, because if you finish this whole thing and she hasn't taken a look at how much volume you have here and she wants more, it's really hard to do after the fact. So now that this is done, I'm going to spray over it just to lock that in. Okay, so we're good there. And if this is heavy hair and you need a couple extra bobby pins, put a few more in here to grip that in. But if it's not too fine and you can get away with two, that's good too. Okay, so now we're going to start the actual pinning of the hair that we're going to cross over and make kind of the half French twist. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take down this front section and I'm going to comb it away from the face in the way that I want it. So are you leaving pieces out? Is it all coming back? Is it being smoothed tight up over the ear? Whatever you are doing with this in the front, that's what you want to do now. So see how I'm pulling this away from the face? I want it to kind of go up and over. So that's what I'm doing. Let me just step over here. So I'm pulling it away from the face like this and pulling it up. So you can see I'm just smoothing it over. All right. And you just want to make sure you get this just how you want it before you do any kind of pinning. So if she wants pieces out, this is where you want to drop those pieces. If she wants it to be lower on her ear, this is where you want to figure that out, okay? So that's how I'm going to be pulling to this side. Now I'm going to switch back over. And I want to cross it over the middle. So I'm crossing over, and then don't pin it yet. Just use a pin curl clip to hold it in place. So now you can make sure you get your shape down. So this is where you really want to make sure you get this right. So you want to make sure you're looking from the front, making sure that it's exactly how you want it, and hairspraying this before you do any pinning. You want to make sure that there's no line in between where it's parted and the middle here. So you want to make sure that this connects, right? If it doesn't, use that metal comb to pull through like this, just like that, okay? Now we're going to come through after we've locked it in. So you want to make sure everything's good on it, and now we're going to pin. So I like to do this first because if anything needs to be adjusted, recombed, anything like that, you haven't locked anything in yet. And so it's easier to make any adjustments. So I'm just going to put my first pin, I'm opening it up and I'm just putting it right in front of that pin curl clip just to get it in place. And then I'm going to do another one over the top, but going down. And I'm going to cross over. So now I've got two. And they're actually touching that bobby pin that's underneath here. So that makes it extra stable because it's locked into the bobby pin that's underneath. Great trick, okay? So now we have, this part is all set, locked in. If you need to add a couple other support pins, do them right here. Okay, tuck them under so you don't see the ends of them. If you need to do more than two, do as many as you need to make sure that's held in and locked in place. Okay, now this part is going to come back over and it's going to be joined with this. So we'll bring down this side, and this is going to be similar to what we just did on the other side, where you want to brush it back in the way that you want it to go. So I'm not taking hair under here because I want to have more hair down in front over her shoulder. If the person has a lot of hair, then you can afford to take some of this, but a lot of times people don't have as thick as hair as they'd like, and so you want to leave more hair internally and then just bring the hair across from the front so it gives the illusion of having a lot more hair here. So I'm just swooping it down because I want it to kind of blend in with this part, okay? Just like that. Now, I want to spray this first, just to make sure we've got it going in the right direction. I'm using my comb just to smooth that in. And you can go ahead and pin this again, just to make sure you've got it right. So then you're looking from the front, making sure it's smooth, exactly how you want it, making sure it's tight how you want it here before you do anything else. Okay, friends. So now we're gonna pull this over and kind of make it into a little half French twist. So what you're going to do is take this section here that you just pulled along with this tail. So this is from the other side. Let's see if I can show you here. So we've got this one here that we just pinned. These are connecting now. So I'm taking the two of these, and you can see I'm sort of making a French twist look, right? You can see it pulling across. Just want to make sure that it's staying smooth. They're kind of blending together here, combing that together. And what you're going to do here is you want it to twist under just like that, and we're going to pin internally. So it's kind of a tricky little loop of the hand. I'm going to kind of come up and over like this and tuck it down just like that. Don't want to grab any other hair in there. And we've sprayed that, so this should be staying for the most part. We can come back in and adjust it if we need to. Just like this, and then we're going to pin inside. I need to get a better hand grip on this. See if I can show you. So I'm just going to put my thumb right in here. And then I can come in over the top and go down inside and pin internally first. Okay, so I just got the one pin in, and then I need to do the same thing under here. Just holding the whole thing with my hand. And go up into it. Okay, so now what you want to do is you got a little loose down here, you got a little loose up here, so we're going to come through with a bobby pin. And before I'm gonna tighten this part by pulling the twist over a little bit more. So how we'll do that is by grabbing the pin here, I'm going towards the head, pushing, and then pushing it back into itself. There you go. And that starts to tighten up the French twist. So I'm just pulling it. You can see how the good tension there. Push the bobby pin and push it back into itself. Just like that. Okay, so this is really locking it in. And now I can go through and kind of polish it up. So the first thing I want to do is make sure that the top is connected. So I'm just going to use my comb to kind of manipulate that in the way that I need it to go. So you just want to pull down with your comb to get that to match, okay? And you can use hairspray in your comb here. And then for this part, I need to pull this up a little bit. So I'm going to pull up the tension here and pin. So you can see when I pull like that, I can see where I need to pin over here. So you can put another one, you can put one in here internally. And then I'll come back over. And you can see as I pull that, it's tightening it above the ear. So I'm just gonna put another bobby pin right here where my thumb is. So once you kind of get the shape, then you can come back through and tighten it. Okay, so now that I've got the basic shape here, I want to just make sure to get these bobby pins not showing, because you can see how there's two pins showing under here. So now that it's secure, I'm just going to remove this one that I can see and replace it. I'm just going to move it up a little bit higher. So it's kind of going internal like that, up into that so no one sees. And then I'll just pull this down a little bit. So by manipulating this down, I can kind of cover that bobby pin. And you can just move the hair down with your tail comb to cover any little heads of the pin that you see. And then you can really use hairspray just to kind of smooth any of the little flyaways that you have going on here. And then lastly, what you want to do is get this curl pattern now to match the bottom. So you notice that we didn't do any curling in this half up part, right? So you're gonna have the ends from the twist that are out. And whatever curl pattern you did down here, you can do this now to these curls. So if you did a wave, then just do the wave pattern. If you did a curl, do a regular curl, and then you just wanna brush it in to the hair below so it's cohesive. And then the last thing I would do is just finish with a shine spray and then a hard hold hairspray. And so if you need a little extra support along this line here, you can just tuck up a couple bobby pins. So that would look like kind of what I did the first time. If you feel like this is drooping, open your bobby pin, grab it, pull it up, and then push it towards the front. And that locks that in. And then you've got a little French twist here. And this is still nice, tight and secure this side, but then we got a little volume still going down. And then you have plenty of hair to bring across the front here because we left more down on each side. Okay, friends, that is another way to do a half up, half down look, another style. If you have questions about this, please drop it in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions for you. And if you found this helpful, if you found any of these techniques helpful, I am teaching a boot camp coming up, and you can get on the wait list for that. And we are going to dive into techniques to not make hair frizzy, techniques to pin to make sure that your styles last all day long and they don't stab your bride in the head. We're just going to talk about everything bridal hair. So it's an intro to bridal hair boot camp. It is for you if you are wanting to get into more bridal, if you are a newer hairstylist and you really want to get into bridal work and really learn the art of updos. If you feel like you've been doing updos but you just don't really know how to nail them, this will really help you refine your skills in updoing, and I will be walking with you along the way. So If you have more questions about that, I have the link in the description. I'll also put it in the comments. And I just wanted to say thank you for anyone who joined me tonight, and I'll see you next time, friends. All right, bye for now.